Most people work their entire lives, collect a paycheck every 2 weeks, and somehow still end up broke. Not because they don't earn enough, not because they're lazy, but because nobody ever sat them down and taught them the rules of the game. And today, right now, that changes for you. Hey, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Mr. James, your money advisor. And what we do here is simple. We break down money in a way that actually makes sense so you can stop surviving paycheck to paycheck and start building real wealth. Make sure you hit that subscribe button because, trust me, by the end of this video, you're going to want more of this. Let's get into it. So let's start at the very foundation. And I mean the absolute ground floor. Because before you can invest, before you can build wealth, before you can even think about financial freedom, you have to understand what money actually is. And no, I'm not talking about the paper in your wallet. I'm talking about what money represents, which is time, energy, and value. Every single dollar you earn is a piece of your life that you traded for it. That shifts how you think about spending, doesn't it? Every time you waste money, you are literally wasting a piece of your life. So the first concept you need to internalize is this. Money is a tool, not a goal. The goal is freedom. The goal is options. Money is just how you get there. Now, the second concept I want you to understand is income versus wealth. A lot of people confuse these two things, and that confusion is costing them enormously. Income is what you earn. Wealth is what you keep. You can earn $10,000 a month and still have zero wealth if you're spending $10,001 every month. And believe it or not, this is happening to millions of people right now. They look rich, nice car, big house, designer clothes, but they're one missed paycheck away from disaster. That's not wealth. That's a performance. Real wealth is having assets that grow over time, even when you're not working. Which leads me to the next concept, assets versus liabilities. Now, this is one that Robert Kiyosaki made famous in Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it's brilliant in its simplicity. An asset is something that puts money into your pocket. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. Simple as that. A rental property that generates income every month. That's an asset. A car loan that requires a payment every month. That's a liability. Stocks that pay dividends. Assets. A closet full of luxury goods that depreciate the moment you buy them. Liabilities. Now here's the thing. Wealthy people spend their lives accumulating assets. People who stay broke spend their lives accumulating liabilities while thinking they're building wealth. The question you should be asking yourself every single time you make a purchase is this putting money in my pocket or taking money out of it? Let me talk about something that is genuinely one of the most powerful forces in all of finance, and that is compound interest. Albert Einstein allegedly called it the eighth wonder of the world. Whether he said it or not, the concept is absolutely true. Compound interest is when your money earns interest, and then that interest earns interest on top of it. It's growth on growth. It's momentum. And here's where it gets exciting. Let's say you invest just $200 a month, starting at age 25, and you earn an average of 8% annually. By the time you're 65, you would have over $700,000. But if you wait until you're 35 to start that same investment, you end up with just over $300,000. Same monthly amount. A 10-year delay cuts your wealth in half. That's the power of compound interest working for you, or against you if you're carrying high interest debt. Because here's the dark side of compounding. It works just as powerfully on debt. That credit card you're carrying with a 22% interest rate, that's compound interest working against you every single day. If you carry a $5,000 balance on a credit card and only make minimum payments, you could end up paying more than $12,000 total for $5,000 worth of stuff. That's why understanding interest, both the kind that builds you up and the kind that tears you down, is absolutely non-negotiable. Now I want to talk about budgeting, but not in the boring way people usually teach it. forget about tracking every cup of coffee. Let me give you a framework that actually works. It's called the 50-30-20 rule. 50% of your after-tax income goes to your needs: rent, groceries, utilities, transportation. 30% goes to wants: entertainment, dining out, hobbies. And 20% goes to savings and investing. Now, is this perfect for everyone? No. But it gives you a starting point. The real principle behind budgeting is that you tell your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. Most people have absolutely no idea where their money goes every month. They look at their bank account on the 28th of the month and think, how is it almost gone already? A budget is just a plan, and people who plan tend to win. Let's talk about the emergency fund, because I cannot stress this one enough. An emergency fund is money you set aside, not to invest, not to spend, just to have, in case life happens. And life always happens. Your car breaks down. You lose your job. A medical bill shows up out of nowhere. Without an emergency fund, every single one of these events sends you into debt. With an emergency fund, it's just an inconvenience. The general rule is 3 to 6 months of living expenses saved in a liquid, easily accessible account, not invested in stocks where it can drop 30% right when you need it. Just sitting there, boring, in a high-yield savings account. This is your financial shock absorber. Build it before you do anything else. I also want to touch on inflation, because this is a concept that affects every single person, whether they understand it or not. Inflation is the gradual increase in the price of goods and services over time, which means the purchasing power of your money decreases over time. A dollar today does not buy what a dollar bought 20 years ago. And here's the critical part. If your money is just sitting in a regular savings account, earning 0.5% interest, and inflation is running at 3%, your money is actually losing value in real terms. This is why investing is not optional for anyone who wants to maintain and grow their wealth. You have to put your money to work, or inflation slowly eats it alive. Which brings me to diversification. You've probably heard the phrase, don't put all your eggs in one basket. In finance, this is not just a cliche. It is a core risk management strategy. Diversification means spreading your investments across different asset classes, industries, and geographies so that if one area tanks, you're not wiped out. If all your money is in one stock and that company goes bankrupt, you lose everything. If your money is spread across hundreds of stocks, bonds, and real estate, one company going under barely makes a dent. Diversification doesn't maximize your gains, but it protects you from catastrophic losses. And in investing, protecting what you have is just as important as growing it. Let me also quickly explain the difference between gross income and net income, because this trips up a lot of people, especially when they're first starting out. Gross income is the total amount you earn before any deductions. Net income is what actually lands in your bank account after taxes, Social Security, and any other deductions are taken out. When you're budgeting, when you're planning, you need to work with your net income, your take-home pay. Basing your lifestyle on your gross income is one of the fastest ways to end up in financial trouble. And finally, I want to talk about financial goals, because none of these concepts matter without direction. You need to know what you're working toward. Whether that's paying off debt, buying a home, retiring early, building a business, or just having enough security that you can sleep at night without stress. You need a target, Because when you have a clear financial goal, every decision becomes easier. You stop asking, should I buy this? And start asking, does this get me closer to my goal or further away? That simple shift in thinking is worth more than any financial strategy I could ever teach you. All right, let's recap what we covered today, because there was a lot in here. We talked about what money really is, a tool for freedom, not the goal itself. We broke down the difference between income and wealth. We covered assets versus liabilities and why wealthy people focus on accumulating things that pay them. We talked about the magical and sometimes brutal power of compound interest. We went through budgeting with the 50-30-20 rule, the critical importance of an emergency fund, how inflation quietly eats away at your purchasing power, why diversification protects your investments, the difference between gross and net income, and the power of having clear financial goals. These are not advanced concepts. These are the basics. But I promise you, most people walking around today do not have a solid understanding of all of these things. And that gap in knowledge is exactly why most people end up working until they're 65, wishing they had started sooner. You now have the foundation. Use it. If this video helped you, please do me a favor. Hit that like button. Leave a comment below telling me which concept was most eye-opening for you. And share this with someone who needs to hear it. We're building a community of people who are serious about their financial future. And every person you share this with is someone whose life could genuinely change. I'm Mr. James, your money advisor. I'll see you in the next one.